Hey YouTube, I'm back again with another little video gaming repair tip. As you can see, I have quite a few of the different guitars and such for the Rock Band and Guitar Hero games. And one of the problems that I've read about and noticed online is that these older style Gibson, I believe these are Guitar Hero probably 2, 1 and 2, maybe even Guitar Hero 3 used these, I'm not sure. They have problems where the buttons stop responding or they get fidgety and they don't hold very well. And I've seen a lot of people say to create a shim. Okay, let me just grab this. To create a shim and jam it down in the neck here between, this is a little dirty, between this and this to keep this from wobbling. And I don't really think that's the problem. As you can see down in there, there's these little sprongy teeth that if you reach down in there, you can push them, you can feel them, they're spring loaded. So I feel like the guitar makes contact with those all the time, and a shim, I think the only reason the shim works is because it pushes the contact points slightly over a little bit. And the real problem I think here is on what I call the little dots on these little necks here. Let's see if I can get this to focus. These little dots, I think they become a little corroded over time, and they don't respond as well. And I'll show you what I mean. I've got this Aerosmith guitar down here that I have already done. And let me just eject the neck here. It's tough to do with one hand. And these dots I've cleaned, and they're much shiny. You can kind of, do you see how when I move it back and forth, you can see how shiny they are? And on this other neck here, when I move it back and forth, you can see they're dull and they're dingy. Maybe I can compare the two of these right next to each other so you can kind of see the difference, what I'm talking about. See, as I move it around, the bottom one, which is from the Aerosmith guitar, is much cleaner and shinier. And the top one is a little more, I wouldn't say corroded, but they've just kind of tarnished over the years. Because these guitars are, you know, they're a couple years old now. And I think that's what happens to them. So I'm going to put this back in the Aerosmith guitar. And so I think the simple fix here is not to shim it, but instead to actually clean these little dots off and make them shiny again. And what I do is I have this little chemical here. It's called Flitz. You can't see it because I've folded the bottle shut. I've gotten quite a lot of use out of this. And you can get this on the internet, and it's like, I don't know, I haven't bought it for a few years, but it should be like $7 to $9 for a tube. And this stuff is great. Now they make two kinds. They make a liquid and they make the paste. I recommend the paste because the liquid has a tendency to be too liquidy and it doesn't seem to clean as well. Now let's get this out of the way. It's a metal plastic polisher, but it is minorly abrasive. You're not going to be able to find very many that are not. So this is going to be slightly removing some of the microscopic amounts of metal off of the contact points. But I would wager you could probably do this 100 times and you'd still have metal on there to work with. So what I do is I take a little bit on the tip of this, and then I massage it onto the points of this, and then I clean it off. And I'll usually do about 2 applications of that, and that will clean up these contact points, and it will restore the functionality of the buttons, and their hold functionality will work a whole lot better. And I've done this multiple times. As you can see, I have quite a few different little guitars here, and I get them and I clean them up and I fix them when they don't function right. And you know, this is what I do, and it works every time. And the shim option was never a good one. It's a temporary fix when you're at a friend's house and you haven't got anything to clean it. Also, you could probably use other types of polisher. You want probably just a very fine, you know, metal polish, because these pieces, they basically are like they're tin or aluminum contact points, and you don't want anything very grainy. You just want to lightly clean off the tarnish, and then the little teeth in here can make good contact with it again, and everything will be good. You don't need to have any kind of shim or anything like that. And like I said, I've had multiple guitars that the buttons stuck and I would hold it and it wouldn't hold, or it would halfway kind of flicker in and out as it registered on the game. And then I used my Flitz, I flitzed it up, put it back in, and it worked beautifully. So yeah, that's what I would recommend. Let's see. I'll see if I can go ahead and set this up and show you as I do it here. Just a minute. Okay, since I don't have a tripod for my cell phone, I'm gonna have to do this. So you're gonna get the lap cam. So here's my Q-tip, and here's my little bit of Flitz that I have kind of oozing out the end of the tube here. And I'm just gonna take, you know, a small amount. You don't need to use a whole lot. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna smear it on here. As you can see, it's gonna make a little bit of a mess. And you just want to kind of rub it back and forth in little circular motions. It's not going to hurt the electronic board or anything like that. I'm sure if you did like 50 or 60 coatings of this and rubbed it around, it might start to become a problem. But you can target specific little dots too. Like if some dots look more, oh, my camera's not focusing. If some dots look a little more tarnished than others, you can rub that dot specifically. I'm just kind of doing a generic, like general rub down here of all of them. And you don't need to push super hard. I mean, on some things when you use Flitz, you know, if you push a little harder, you get better results. But if you just do, you know, 40 or 50 swirls in general around the area here, you're gonna get pretty good results. And generally, you could probably get away with just one application. I can already see that these are cleaning up quite nice. And this, just like I say, it's a minor abrasive, so what it does is it slightly just strips off some of that tarnishing or corrosion or whatever you want to call it, and it just makes the contacts a lot more sensitive to being conductive. Okay, so now I want to show you something real quick. It's probably going to look like that black is what's come off of there, and to a certain extent it has, but the truth of the matter is you could keep rubbing and it's always going to come off kind of a black color. It's just kind of a side effect of the Flitz. I think as it gets exposed to air here, you can see around the end of the tube, it's kind of gotten a little dark and dingy. It just changes color like that. So don't take that as a indicator that it's like that dirty and you've rubbed off that much. But some of that darkness is the tarnish. So now I'm going to take the other side of the Q-tip, which is obviously the clean side, and I'm just going to go in here and I'm just going to rub it off. And you might have to do this a couple of times to get it all off, because the Flitz is kind of it just kind of hangs around a lot, you know, and you can see that the tip of my Q-tip's becoming a little dark there. But you can already see how they're already getting more of a shine to them. And like I say, I'm only going to do one application on this guitar because this guitar didn't have too bad of a problem. It just had, I think, the green button was kind of flickering in and out as I was holding it. And I'm almost positive that applying this and cleaning this is, without a doubt, going to make it work fine, because it's worked every other time I've done it. Now, here's the thing. There's a possibility some of you out there might try this and it may not fix the guitar. I can't guarantee it that it's going to work, because it just works for me. If you take your neck and you put it in and pull it out and put it in and pull it out a whole lot, it's possible that maybe you'll wear down the plastic here and it'll become so loose that it just doesn't even make contact with the dots anymore. But you can see now, do you see the reflection of how much shinier they are than they were? That right there is going to be pretty much all you're going to need to do to get your connection working again. And again, like I said, you may even want to get, like, after you've, you know, because after a while the Q-tip kind of gets dirty, and you may just want to grab another Q-tip, which I'm going to get from my desk over here, and just do one last final pass through it. And it also doesn't hurt if you really want to be, you know, if you really want to get all that Flitz out of there. Let's see if I can focus this. You can take your Q-tip and dip it in just a little bit of like isopropyl alcohol, or just even a little bit of water with like a tiny amount of dishwasher detergent in it, and that will help get like the excess Flitz off if you're really concerned about it. Generally, I don't mind so much. I do use the rubbing alcohol because I do use this Flitz also to clean some of my Nintendo games, and I'm sure some people will watch this and say, "Oh, that's blasphemy! How dare you!" But the truth of the matter is, I've collected some Nintendo games that are so corroded, they just would never work in the Nintendo. And I don't believe in blowing on the games, so I flitzed the connectors, got them mirror shiny clean, and they work perfect every time. And as long as I take care of them from that point on, yeah, you know, I've taken a microscopic, hardly measurable amount off of the metal and the contacts. But if I only ever have to do that once in the lifetime of the cartridge, who's it really going to hurt? So just be aware, yes, it is a slightly abrasive, you know, application, a slightly abrasive thing. And so there you can see I've gotten just a little bit more dirt off, or not dirt, but a little bit more of the leftover Flitz off, and I think I've reached enough now. And as you can see, now it's very shiny, it's very clean, it's reflecting very nicely, and I'm probably gonna end up cleaning the rest of this guitar, because it's, you know, it's got some marks around the neck here where it's a little bit dirty. But ultimately, you're just gonna slide that back in place, and when I plug this in and turn it on, it's gonna work perfectly, and the game is there's not gonna have any hold problems. And I would show you, but the fact that you didn't see that that the green button had problems before means that either way, you know, if I was lying to you, I could easily fake it. But trust me, this will work most of the times with your guitars if they're having problems. And if it doesn't work, you at least have a tube of the Flitz, which it does great polishing of silver things and other metal things that have gotten dingy and don't have their shine. Or if you just have some other metal polishes around the house, give it a quick try. I'm not advertising their product or anything. It's just something that I've used for years, and it works really great on this. You can probably use anything that you can find at your local hardware store, and it will probably work just as good. Anyways, please, if you try this and it does help you, please leave a comment saying so that other people can see that I'm not just making it up. Because I hate to see these guitars get tossed, you know, and not get used when they still have a lot of good life left in them, and people think they're just done with them, that they can't be repaired. Anyways, that's my little tutorial for getting these old guitars back to working again. Thank you for watching, and when I find something else I can post to how to fix them, I will do so. I'll post later. Thanks.